Good evening, friends. Today, I want to react to a short clip from the conversation of Shawn and Tucker Carlson. Let's get right into it.
I don't even think we're the superpower anymore. I think that's becoming more and more obvious every day, but a lot of people do. So let's phrase it like this. What do you think it looks like if we do lose our place in the world? Do you think it's going to be that bad? I've been looking into some of this with what happened when Germany fell and what happened when the UK fell and what happened to the USSR when it fell. And some of them were really bad and some of them, like the UK stuff, it didn't really seem that bad.
Germany is right in the fall.
Like they still had law and order. Their currency was still worth money. I think they had a lot of debt. Property rights still existed.
But for how long?
But the world figured it out. We don't need to answer these people anymore. There's a new sheriff in town.
There are only two things you need to survive long term, in my opinion. One is a coherent nation. Like, you have to have Germans. Like, everyone understands what a German is. You've got a shared history, language, cultural assumptions. Like, you have something in common with your countrymen. And you have to have your dignity.
The German government nowadays had not really much in common with the people, at least with the German patriotic people. In the eyes of the government in Germany, patriotic people are practically Nazis and racists and whatever.
And your self-respect, you can't be convinced to hate yourself just because you lost something. They can't break your spirit. They can't turn you into the prison bitch. And because if that happens, then there's no recovery at all. And the loss isn't measured in GDP. It's like much bigger than that. And so I would argue that the collapse of the British Empire, the collapse of the German state in 1945, the country was literally split in half. I mean, those were pretty soft landings on a surface level, but they were profound. And those nations were destroyed for all time. Whereas Russia, which went through in 91 when the Soviet Union dissolved, went through a period of, 10 years of lawlessness and the oligarchs and the mafia and people getting shot to death in Moscow and life expectancy plummeting and everything that we read about in the Western press. But actually, Russia remained a coherent nation with a shared vision of the future. It remained an actual place, like a real place. And now it's recovered, and now it's a great power again. Mm-hmm. It's the world's largest country, and it has a sense of itself as that, and it will continue. It will outlive us. It will outlive Germany and the UK. That's for sure. Whether you my ancestors are from the UK and Germany, so like I'm kind of on their side in some deep sense, but just objectively, they're not going to exist because there's no such thing as a German anymore. Mm-hmm. The majority of births in the UK are non-English. So, like, what does it even mean there's no country?
That's true. This is a topic I follow for quite some time. That when you look at the birth rates from migrants and when you look at the birth rates from Germans or in the UK, you see that we are quite outnumbered. We are quite outnumbered in a way. The government feeds even this whole thing because of the welfare. In Germany, we call it the Kindergeld. And we're practically done. So for me as a German, I can say in the next 100 years, Germany will be done. It simply didn't exist anymore to that kind of level we are right now or where we were. So when you see a regular German family, mom, dad, 2 kids, that's it. When you see a migrant family, mom, dad, 7 to 9 kids, you're outnumbered.
But before that, I mean, it was a soft landing.
Yeah, they had rationing in Britain for 10 years after the war. And
they had I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah. They had, I think for 10, some genius on the internet will correct me, but I think, for 10 years. Oh, it wrecked the British economy, the fall of empire. The empire really ended in 1918, but whatever. The point is, Americans still thought Britain was a real country and impressive. It was our parent. Being ambassador of the Court of St. James was the highest honor in the U.S. State Department. Like, there was a lot of prestige that attached to Britain, not so much anymore, but the country itself was gone. And you know you're gone when you start importing people to replace your children. Like that's just the most obvious. You know, what's your birth rate doing? Are people reproducing? Do they have enough confidence and enough self-respect to keep the project going?
In Germany right now, we have a specific group of leftists who say publicly that it would be best when the native Germans don't reproduce, because then there will be more space for migrant people. So what more do you want to know about them? They want to practically extinct the native German.
With their genes. And no, they don't. So I think the bigger the empire, the farther out over its skis it gets, obviously, the more...
Harder it falls.
Exactly. The uglier the crash. And I'm worried about our country because there is no coherent nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I spoke to an employer this morning, a big industrial employer who's a close friend of mine. You know, Republican, optimistic, very smart person, very decent Christian person. And he said to me, we have zero unemployment in the state that he's a Midwestern state. He said zero unemployment. I don't care what they tell you. We can't find English-speaking workers. Nobody speaks English. And you have to work on our plant. You have to speak English for safety reasons.
We have the same problem in Germany.
And we can't, nobody speaks English.
So we have in Germany practically the same problem. We imported so many professionals from Afghanistan, Syria, whatever you name it. But they're all stuck in our welfare system, which is kind of odd to me because our whole industrial complex in Germany screams for professional people who want to work. At the same time, we have a lot of these so-called professionals stuck in the welfare system, and they don't go to work. So we have a big problem here. Most of these people don't even speak any kind of form of a business German. A business German means when you are a truck driver and you come up to a company and you have to load or unload some materials, you have to at least know the words to describe what you are doing, but that they can't. They come up with a cell phone and they type in what they have to do here or what they want to do here, and they show you their cell phone. I saw this so many times. These people can't even speak German. This is not integration. If I move to a country like, for example, Japan, my first thing is that I have to learn the basics of the language. This is the first thing I do. Then I study about the culture because I don't want to piss someone off. This is what I call respect. But these people come in here demanding all the good shit, don't want to give anything to the society and the country back. And then you have, as a native, you have to sit back and have to let it slide. And if you say something, you're a racist or a Nazi. It's always the same game.
And This is in a major American Midwestern state. This is a major industrial company, makes things. He said, we can't. Nobody. In fact, he told me one of his competitors is going out of business because of labor shortages. Those of us who live in kind of like legacy communities where, you know, half your neighbors had an ancestor in the Civil War are not seeing what the country's becoming because we're cut off from it, because we live in these little pockets that look like our childhood, but that's not a reflection of what the country is.
It's true.
Oof.
That's not happening in Russia or China or Iran. So those are the measures, like all this stuff, like, oh, the nuclear program and whoever is running the country today and Yeltsin versus Putin. It's like, who cares? That's all window dress. I mean, those are meaningful, I guess. I mean, of course they're meaningful, but they're not ultimately the measures that matter. What matters is who lives in your country. Are there people whose ancestors live there, or are they brand new people who have no connection in all the country, are likely to treat the current occupants with contempt, and is it a source of income and people to be exploited? Anyway, so yeah, I'm concerned.
Me too.
We all are.
So, but you're saying that really the main problem to be addressed is not what's happening outside of us or in our political system, but what's happening inside of us. I think, as you said, we're all kind of evil.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how to fix it, Tucker. I mean, what the fuck do I know? But I think that maybe people need to tune out a little bit and start working on themselves. And maybe, for lack of a better term, just be the person you want everybody else to be, and that probably won't work. But that's what I'm gonna do.
That's the only. That's the only thing that will work.
True.
Be the person you want everyone else to be.
True. Because if you're walking around like you're something better and talking to people from above, you separate yourself. So be the person, be exactly that person that you want other people to be. In Germany, we say, wie es in den Wald schallt, so schallt es wieder heraus.
You ever had this experience when you're arguing with someone, up to and including your wife, but you're mad at someone who you know well, and you look at that person in your mind, you're like, I'm mad at Shawn because he's doing this. He's being this way. And if only he would stop doing this or being that way, things would be fine. And then this is like a very common marital experience, I think, for people. And then you ultimately realize, like, whatever you're accusing the other person of doing is exactly what you're doing.
It's just like coming home from work and being grumpy. And then your significant other is grumpy too. And then you say, why are you so grumpy? It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. But what I wanted to say when Shawn said all people are evil, the problem lies way deeper. I think people are so blunted nowadays because, for example, all the violent crimes in Germany we didn't saw pre-2015, and now you switch on the TV or the news in any shape or form, even if it's TV or smartphone, whatever, and you see, hey, there's another person dead. And now it's just like, okay, it's in the background again, so I heard it. I'm not even shocked anymore because it happens so often. So I think the main problem that we have is that people ignore the current times and being too blunted and yeah, just turn their backs and walk away. Don't look at it. The most heated conversations that I have nowadays is when people say, I don't give a crap about politics. I don't give a shit. I can't do nothing. And every time I think the same thing. So if everybody would act like that, so we ignore the politics, we ignore the problems that we have here in this country or in any other country, the more politicians can do whatever the hell they want because you don't give a crap about them and they can do whatever they want. And this is exactly the reason why we're here now. So people have to be on the watch every time. For me, it's annoying to watch any news outlet because every time it's the same thing. Taxes rises, people are dead, country is going down. It's always negative. It's always negative, but you have to look at it at a certain extent. You have to look at it because if you try to ignore it, politicians can do whatever the hell they want. This is just like look here while I do shit here. So it's no, not good.
I'm being grumpy.
Yeah. You don't think like me. That's what it is.
Yeah. But there's something in people that wants to accuse others of doing exactly what they're doing.
A good video. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like what I do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. Yeah, I'm out. See you next time. Goodbye.